Charleston White's been screaming it for years. Big, you ain't right. And while many thought he was just trolling or doing his usual shock jock routine, things are starting to look a little different now. Suddenly, people are circling back to those wild late-night rants because the dots are connecting in ways nobody expected. What Charleston said back then, it's starting to sound like a warning. Now fast forward to the chaos unfolding today. Adam 22, the no-jumper host who's been deep in West Coast street culture interviews, just revealed that the feds actually came knocking. And they weren't playing. They had questions. Real ones. And not just about the hip-hop industry. According to Adam, the federal agents were digging for names, connections, and movements. They're not just trying to find out who said what. They're investigating who's been moving where, and more importantly, who's been protecting who. When Adam started talking, fans tuned in heavy. Not because he's known for street credibility. He's not. But he's been sitting in front of rappers, OGs, and ex-gang members for years. His platform is full of raw stories and half-confessions, some from people who've lived deep in the underground world. And now it seems like the government is taking all that archived content way more seriously than anyone ever imagined. And here's where it gets wild. As soon as Adam dropped that info, Wack 100 exploded. You could hear the anger through the screen. Wack went on live, practically breathing fire, yelling about how dangerous this moment is becoming. Everybody think this content is asterisk is a joke, he said, until the feds use your podcast as a blueprint for an indictment. Wack wasn't just mad. He was furious. Because to him, it's not just media anymore, it's survival. These interviews, these clips, this commentary, it's starting to attract the kind of attention that can't be undone. The streets have always had rules, and one of the main ones is simple. Don't talk too much. But now we live in an era where the talking is nonstop, and it's all recorded, clipped, and uploaded. So when Charleston White kept yelling, "Big, you ain't right," most people laughed. They thought it was just him being extra again. But now folks are wondering, what did he really know? Was he ahead of everyone? Or just wild and accidentally right? Charleston, whether people love him or hate him, has always called out what he sees as hypocrisy in the culture. And he's been targeting Big U for a while, saying he's not who people think he is. He accused him of using his power not to uplift the community, but to control it, to move like a boss, not a leader. Charleston even claimed that certain big names in the industry only made it because Big U allowed it, and that behind the scenes, there were deals being made that had nothing to do with music and everything to do with control. Now, with the Fed sniffing around and Adam 22 confirming they're watching closely, Charleston White's loud rants aren't sounding so crazy anymore. What's even more interesting is that Wack 100, who once had major issues with Big U himself, is now trying to protect the whole narrative from spiraling out of control. Maybe it's about loyalty, or maybe it's about survival. Either way, he made one thing clear. Don't bring my name up with no feds, and don't bring Big U's name up with no feds either. You playing a dangerous game. The internet went wild trying to piece everything together. Who are the feds really watching? Why now? Are they trying to build a case against someone? Or are they just collecting data to keep tabs on who's influencing what in the culture? Here's where it gets even messier. People are speculating that the federal interest might not even be about any specific crime. Some believe it's part of a larger move to disrupt street power structures that are starting to bleed into mainstream influence. And let's be real, the internet gave a megaphone to voices that used to be silent. Now OGs, former gang members, and street legends are sharing stories, dropping names, and unintentionally offering up timelines that connect dots investigators might have missed for years. Adam 22 may have opened a door that can't be closed. Once he admitted that the feds are not only watching but visiting content creators, it confirmed what many feared. Nothing is private anymore. Your podcast could be used against someone. Your interviews could spark a case. Your platform could turn into evidence. Charleston White, in his usual raw fashion, went live shortly after and said, "Told y'all, Big U ain't right." And now look, the feds up at Adam 22's door like it's Amazon delivery. He wasn't gloating, but he wasn't surprised either. He's long warned that too many street dudes trying to mix corporate moves with gangster tactics would eventually get exposed. Charleston said if people kept glorifying the underworld while pretending to be businessmen, the system would step in and say, "Let's see who's really clean." And now here we are. Wack 100's explosive reaction to all this isn't just about media beef. It's about the real danger of the streets colliding with the content world. One wrong sentence can lead to a raid. One viral clip can cost someone their freedom. That's why Wack keeps yelling, "You bloggers playing with fire. You say names that ain't supposed to be said, and then wonder why people get knocked." The internet age gave everyone a platform, but it also brought surveillance into everyone's living room. And once the feds start paying attention, they don't stop. Adam 22 revealing that the feds had direct interest in his interviews changes the entire game. It means they're watching not just the rappers, but the people who document their stories. It means Charleston White's years of ranting weren't just for laughs. They were warnings. Now everyone's re-watching old interviews. They're dissecting what was said about Big U, what Wack 100 might have slipped, and how deep the rabbit hole really goes. Are these just scattered visits by law enforcement? Or is something bigger coming? The hip-hop community is shaken, but not surprised. There's always been a line between entertainment and the streets, but it's getting harder to tell where that line even is. With federal agents showing up unannounced, names being whispered, and old rants being rewatched like documentaries, the game is clearly changing. Charleston White, love him or hate him, lit the fuse a long time ago. Now the explosion is beginning, and the smoke is starting to reveal some things people never wanted seen. One thing's for sure, everyone's watching now. The feds, the fans, the streets, and every word said from here on out could change everything.